Hey everyone, welcome to the video. We're just about nearing the end of the season and time for our final push. So since bombers, we did pick up troop health, building damage, went back for critters, and after that some GBE. And now the last somewhat medium decent tech is gonna be 2 hot pots, so we'll pick those up. Technically we're still missing stuff like bomber boost, barrage, and art. And we might try a few hits tomorrow, but for right now, this is the main tech we got. Big thing that's helping us out is those critters and GBE, really making it easier to support the hits, both bombers and the squad leaders. Got a base like this, a couple laser beams. We'll do 3 HCs, 3 bombers on the left side, and probably the leaders for those 3 ERs. And sometimes with critters you can even just take out an ER by itself, especially with that new change where now troop health, troop damage is affected. But for right now, just 3 HCs, 3 bombers, and these guys on the right side. Whenever there's a shock launcher there, I like moving that meat shield up, just to some building where he separates from the Zook fan. And a big part is delaying Kavan. If you drop him too early, then good chance of him dying. We'll go ahead and shock the critter launcher once. This time, we can take Kavan on the right side. And let's start moving that meat shield. Get him going to somewhere in the middle, mainly to distract the shock launchers. And once this ER dies, we can move that Zook fan. Let's move him to that flame. And we'll do 1 shock here. Left side looking not too bad. That laser beam is locked on to that HC. Let's get a shock going on the other critter launcher. Right now our GBE doesn't look too bad. Start moving that Zook fan over there. And not only 1 shock in, but maybe a crit or 2. Go ahead, shock this shock launcher. And the other side, bombers are working everywhere. And we'll get 1 more shock there. See what time we got. Looking like 2:28. So didn't have to worry about laser beams too much. Kavan just brought back bombers and we had enough in the hit. Let's see if it's enough. And a close one, but looks like a win. We should be aiming for around 230 times. Can check out what he did. He's running also a couple leaders, looking like everyone on the right side. That might be a cool way to hit this base. Just taking leaders down the middle, and eventually looking like moving them towards the back middle ERs. And that kind of makes sense since our base is designed where if you try using leaders from the far left or far right, there's a bunch you gotta deal with. Hot pot, a couple of shock launchers. And maybe we could have been a bit faster too. Just a better distraction for the shock launchers. Like maybe 1 critter on that CL and then a shock there. Sometimes we can critter ERs, but this one was kind of tough. Got 2 machine guns and SLs each side. But it worked out. And if you notice in our hits, we're really zoomed into the section that we care about. Whether it's squad leaders, we zoom in, focus on them, or the normal HC bombers. A big reason why we delay Kavan is so we don't have to really worry about him dying early. And we got a base like this. This one I like going from kind of the right side. Doing 1 HC bomber on each of these sections. So we can go ahead and try that. And then get the bombers out. The squad leaders on the far right. And we'll go ahead and send those flares. Kavan can go eventually towards the right side. It's okay with mortar shoot our bombers once. Let's get a shock on that critter launcher. And over here we're gonna do a critter and a shock. Always shocking the hot pots, but you can critter also just for that shock launcher. Another critter going over here. And we'll get a shock in. Get some second wind action. And here maybe keep shocking the shock launcher. Even moving that meat shield up. Left side looking okay. Get one more shock in just a bit. This time we really care about that hot pot. And as this top hot pot goes down, you can even start flaring. Going for it now. And just keeping that Zook fan up there. We gotta be aggressive since aiming for around those 230 times. Flaring that last TR, but keeping that Zook fan up there. And we'll see what time we get. One more second wind, last second. Got 227. At least on this base, you can be really aggressive with bombers. Kind of flaring a bunch of ERs around the same time. And that's a win. It's a little tough to see, but every time we flare an ER with bombers, we're using that squad flare to keep the Zook fan on the top ER. Just making sure that those are separated. You gotta wait until the flare lands, and then you can do the squad flare. And as long as you can do that, then the last few ERs should be no problem. Here we got another match. This one, a little different kind of base. At least with those cool rockets in the middle. But I think otherwise it should be not too bad. Even has a micro over here. We'll still do 3 HCs, 3 bombers on the left side. And on the right, don't think we can ignore that DC. So we might kill it with that Zook fan and then move them further up. But this would be a good base to even just critter out that ER. Once we have everything up there, 2 critters and making sure that hot pot machine gun is shocked. So still starting off with 3 HCs and 3 bombers. Get that meat shield Zook fan more towards the right side, avoiding that micro. We might have to shock that DC once. We'll wait just a few seconds. And send a shock now. Left side looking okay. Let's get Kavan going on the far left. Can still afford more shocks. We'll do 1 in that DC. And now start moving that meat shield up. Same with that Zook fan. Zook fan straight on that DC. And I think we'll just keep that critter launcher hot pot shocked. Left side looking okay. Now we want to start those critters. Get 2 of them going. Can even do a third one. Got a bit more GB for shocks. Even though that shock launcher is hitting, not too many of them. You can go ahead for the last ER, but you see how strong critters are. Normally you could never really do that kind of hit, but they got that troop health, troop damage to help out. And we'll take that win, which is going to bring us to 24. Getting that chest, even though it gets us basically nothing. Maybe medkits if we wanted. Don't think it helps us too much. Those couple cannons could be good too. Help against those squad leader hits. But I think otherwise, maybe even art for some lone boom mines, shock mines. But we do have enough keys, so I think we'll just get a couple cannons. Can put them out. And we can do one on this side. Go for a few more hits. Got a match over here. Another little different kind of base. Might be tough to get this ER with the leaders and then flare up. But this one's a bit less protected, so we can try kind of the reverse hit. We'll do 3 HC bombers from the right side, and then use the leaders for maybe just the far left ERs. So we can try that out. 3 HCs over here, then 3 bombers, couple leaders. We're gonna go from above the ER, so we'll just squad flare a few tiles above that rocket, then use a few smokes. Let's keep Kavan towards the left side. A few more smokes over here. And start on a second wind. Want to protect these bombers from mines, so we'll do a critter. Top side looking okay. Just kind of watching the bombers. Not enough meat shield, so we'll shock that doom cannon. Another second wind on this side. Here we can start moving that meat shield up. Then go with the Zook fan. Another cool thing we can do is just critter out shock launchers. Doesn't take too long because, again, that critters have all that troop health, troop damage. Should die pretty soon. Though it's gonna take a little time. That Zook fan needs to get this ER. Go ahead, shock the hot pot. Then we'll go for this last ER. Get one more shot going. So maybe it could have been faster if we got that Zook fan out earlier. Looks like we'll pull a bit slower time, 2:15, and see if it's okay. Wouldn't be surprised if it's lost. This guy going with a 220. Can see what he did. Kind of like the other hit, just going HC bombers on the right side. Even one laser, maybe for that critter launcher. And here just crittering out one ER. And an hour hit, see what we could have done. You know, maybe still go on the right side. It would need a lot more GB early, like shocking that critter launcher, shock launcher, crits for that doom cannon. But eventually, there's not much on this top side. I think what really costs us time is having those leaders get this ER. Takes a while to get there. Whereas on the right, it's so close to the beach. Especially when you want them to get all 3 ERs. Gotta have it done fast. So maybe next time we could try still a right style hit. Just more GB up front. We got another match over here. And almost like a base we're running. But we'll still try same kind of deal. Leaders on the right side. Other HC bombers doing their thing. Here maybe keeping Kavan a bit towards the left side. Kind of where the main group is. Dropping these guys here. Still waiting on Kavan. Good rule of thumb is when this first ER goes down. If there's no ER there, then kind of around that gap. And no shock launcher on the right side, so don't have to move the meat shield up. Can start dropping Kavan now. One shock on that critter launcher. And now we can start moving that meat shield up, distracting the other SL. As this ER falls, move the Zugfan up. Start doing a second wind. This could be a good base to even critter that top ER. We'll send 3 there. And we'll do a couple shocks. Even though the hot pot wakes up, should have enough critters on that side. Get another shock, especially on that machine gun. Critter launcher will still be a bit annoying. Can start flaring this bottom ER. Moving that Zugfan up just in case, last few shots. And looks like we'll get 237. A little easier base, not really well protected for crittering. So I'm sure people are gonna start putting like some mines around that ER. But for right now, take advantage of it. And this one looks like a win. The one thing is just keep on doing those hits with squad leaders. It's a fun and different kind of meta. Normally you just have HC bombers, but never have these new kind of troops. So let me know what you think about that meat shield, Zugfan, how you think it changed up the season. But that's gonna be it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.